In speaking with people about meaning and purpose in their lives, we always hear about heroes, and we always hear about healers in that person's life. And we will always hear stories about helpers. When we normally think of helpers, we think of another person who comes along to help us achieve something. I like to think of it as I am a train attempting to move up a hill, carrying the meaning and purpose, but I can't do it alone. And so we add another engine, a second engine, along with the first one, and that's the helper that will help it get up the hill and onto its journey. To me, that's a helper. And when we encounter helpers, you'll always hear the expression, "I couldn't have done it without your help." You know then that there's a helper in the area. If we think of helper simply as someone that does something for someone else, we are too limited in our understanding of who helpers are and how many different kinds of helpers there are in the world as we live our life of meaning and purpose. So normally we think of the first type, which is a helper who helps us get up the hill. That's the other engine, and we'll make it up the hill with their help, and we will say, "I couldn't have done it without your help." But there are other kinds of helpers. One of those are invisible helpers. These are all the people you do not see that you could not do without. The people that do the laundry, the people that keep the power lines and power going, the people that clear the road, people that mow the yards, people who pick up the trash. In our hearts, we must always remember the invisible helpers. Without them, none of the rest of this would happen. We need to always remember to give thanks for them and to them, and acknowledge that we know they are helpers. There is also what I call the reclusive helper. This is the person that we will seek out who has very little attachment to other people. Usually this is an elder. Usually they live alone or in a remote area. A reclusive helper. And when we seek them out, we seek out their wisdom and experience in their storytelling to enhance our own and to seek their guidance. Another type of helper is the inclusive helper. This is one who, when you're speaking with them, will include you in the conversation as though you were an equal. They will talk about their dreams, but they will also ask you about yours. They will include you in that conversation, and in return, you can include them in yours. We become inclusive helpers. Another type of helper that tends to be problematic is the predicting helper. This is a person who will present themselves to you and will want to predict your future. They will tell you that you're going to make lots of money, or if they work with you, they will help you make lots of money, and they will predict the future as though they know exactly how it will go. Under the pretense of being a predicting helper, usually these people are not of help and are best to avoid. There is also a prophetic helper. These are extremely valuable people. They will come to you and speak to you alone, usually not in the presence of other people. And they will prophesy about you and the meaning and purpose of your life. They may tell a story about it or tell the influence it will have, but they will give you a prophecy. These come from stories of old, including many of the world's religious scriptures. They will prophesy about how you are going to do. Because it's done privately, there is no one else watching. The ego is not involved. Therefore, the prophecy can be given pure and received as the same. And there is the individual helper, and those that tell their stories of meaning and purpose almost always have an individual helper that they will mention. There is a face and there is a name to the face, and there is a time and there is a place of this individual helper who appears in your life. It may come in the form of an envelope with money for a trip you're wanting to make as you live out your meaning and purpose. It may be a phone call where they simply call to tell you they're thinking of you or sending you love and light. This is an individual helper who is there for you and humble. And because of that, very wise. I hope this is helpful to you in your living your life of meaning and purpose, particularly when it comes to the aspect of helpers. We've covered individual helpers. We have covered invisible helpers. We've covered predicting helpers. And we've covered prophesying helpers. We've covered inclusive helpers. And we have covered reclusive helpers. The different types of people that will present them in your life as you live your life of meaning and purpose, as you follow your dreams. They will present themselves as part of the way that the universe helps us along the way as we follow the golden thread. What a magnificent story is unfolding in you. Asking for help, being willing to forgive, letting down and letting go of control, having 3 chairs, 1 for solitude, 2 for friendship, and 3 for community. Becoming a visionary and a dreamer. People are drawn to visionaries and dreamers. And as you follow your dream, like the story knows when it's being told, somehow helpers show up to help. Hopefully this has been helpful in understanding the different types of helpers that may present themselves in your life and how to best respond and receive them or decline them. I hope hearing about these different types of helpers has been helpful to you. As you remember about storytelling and how the story knows when it's being told. Because you are watching this, I'm honored to be a helper to you. Pay attention. Helpers are showing up. Follow your dream.